Bonjour, Kinamagi Nene Ireland Indigenicas, and welcome to this special episode of Support Coach Television. Today's episode, My Castle, Respond to Text. We have reached the conclusion of this mini chapter with two different lessons, and while we will continue to expand upon the different details of poetry throughout the school year, it is time now to reflect on the poems that we have just finished. My Castle is one poem with two speakers. They have different ideas about the castle. Is it real or in the clouds? Why does it matter? Should take a moment and just think about what you have learned about how the speaker of a poem reflects on the poem's topic. For example, the speaker of The Road Not Taken is a thoughtful person who makes a careful decision to walk on the road that might offer some adventure. Think about how does the speakers in My Castle reflect on the topic of the poem, as both of them took very different views of that castle. And you don't necessarily have to write this down quite yet. We'll come to it in a moment. You're going to have the opportunity to go one of three ways when responding to this assignment. One of the ways is to write this out on a sheet of notebook paper and reply using the folders that we send home on Wednesday or Group A or Group B's specific day. You could type it in a Google form that'll be attached to this post in our Google Classroom, or you can go and respond via Flipgrid. So two of those will be written responses. One option is a oral response. Each of them will be graded exactly the same and should include the same facts. Its only difference will be your chosen style of delivery. So you're going to write a paragraph about the speakers in My Castle. Tell about how they reflect differently on the topic of the poem. Use the next page to help you plan your response, and then write your paragraph on a separate sheet of paper, type it, or say it out loud. Your paragraph should show understanding of what the poem means, explains how the two speakers reflect on the topic, includes a topic sentence and supporting ideas, ends with a concluding statement, uses complete sentences, and is free of spelling and grammatical errors. Let's look at the document here. Your My analysis of the speakers in the poem. You can use this document for all three methods of response. The only difference is on the Flipgrid, you will read what you've put together instead of necessarily writing it out. Although it is not a bad idea to write it out and then present it orally. So we're going to begin with a topic sentence. And your topic sentence should begin with, in the poem My Castle, there are two speakers, one who thinks the castle blank and one who thinks the castle blank. So you go ahead and you fill that in. So that should be everybody's first sentence. Yes, I know that means I'm going to read a lot of in the poem My Castle, but we're working on developing these response skills. So let's take advantage of the sentence starter it gave us. Then we get into the detailed sentences. The sentences of your paragraph should provide details that explain how the speakers reflect differently on the topic. And I do want you to use this chart to organize your ideas. Like first speaker, what does the castle look like? Where is the castle? How does the castle make you feel? Second speaker, what does the castle look like? Where is the castle? How does the castle make the speaker feel? When you go to write these, you might use conjunctions such as but, and, or. For example, the first speaker thinks the castle is located in place A, comma, but the second speaker thinks the castle is located in place B. That should be your sentences 2, 3, and 4. Your final sentence should be a conclusion that restates the poem's meaning with a new twist. So you'll think back to the analysis that we've done of the poem over this week. and that'll be your final sentence. So this one should vary student to student in a much bigger way. So once we have now got to the bottom of this video, you're going to choose which way you want to present it. You should fill out this sheet. If you're handwriting it, and take a moment to proofread it at the end. If you're doing it in the Google form, you could choose to type it out in a Word doc or in your Google Docs and then copy and paste it into the Google form. Or at the very least, make sure you read it before hitting submit to try to keep your spelling and punctuation on point. If you're doing the video, I still recommend you do this before going to Flipgrid and then present it there. If you're doing the Flipgrid, feel free to use the filters and the borders, as that's intended to be a fun way to present. This will now conclude this episode. Next week, we'll be back with our comprehension week where we take grades, and then we'll be moving on after that to the next chapter. Hope you all are having a minute. Got in. Bumapee.